Now let's move on to reading. Do you think reading is important? Let's look at what the textbook says. In our everyday life, we read many things: signboards, billboards, railway timetables, newspapers and magazines, brochures, textbooks, storybooks, encyclopedias, research articles, theses and dissertations, project reports, advertisements, memos, minutes, presentation slides, emails and letters, among others. There's a lot of information around us, and reading is an important method of processing the information and using it for our purposes. There's no doubt that reading is an important skill for success in academics and at the workplace in particular, and for survival in this modern world in general. So we see that reading is very important. Most of the information in this world is stored in the form of writing. So we all have to read. And it is important that we learn how to read. There are some techniques for effective reading mentioned here. You will look at them. Let's move on to page 16. The first thing is that you have to decide why you are reading. Is it for brief and specific information, for detailed understanding, or for analyzing what is presented critically? So why you're reading will decide how you're supposed to read. Okay. And now, for example, if you're looking for the name of somebody in the newspaper, somebody, you may want to look for somebody's performance in sports the previous day. Where will you go? You'll go to the sports page only. You will not read the whole newspaper, right? And you will go looking for that certain sport. Yes, so there are some sub skills called skimming and scanning. We will discuss these skills later in another unit in detail. Okay, so you have to decide first what or why you want to read, not what, why you want to read. Next, you need to understand the organizational patterns of different kinds of texts. You need to know how texts are written, so you will know where to find the information that you're looking for. For example, a research paper has an abstract which effectively is a summary of the entire paper. So you can get the summary of somebody's work on the abstract page. Okay. Next, use context to guess the meaning of unfamiliar words. This will help you retain the flow of your reading. You can't keep going to a dictionary for every new word that you come across. You have to first try to understand the meaning from the context. Most of the times we can understand, unless you're reading newspapers like the Hindu. It is full of new vocabulary for many people. Okay, but otherwise you must try to understand the meaning from the context. Even when you read the newspaper, even if it's the Hindu, try to understand the meaning from the context, and then it is important that you check if you are correct. Okay. Another thing you need to do is make notes while reading. This is particularly useful in academic contexts. You can just consult notes for revision later. So when you're reading something, look for the main idea. In the beginning of this lesson, the first task that you are supposed to do is look for the main idea. What's a main idea? Every paragraph has one idea that it substantiates. So you look for it. It's usually at the beginning of the paragraph. Okay, so when you're reading something, write down the main idea and write down the important points of in the paragraph, and then you're ready to go with that paragraph. You can refer to it later. Okay, you don't have to go to the main text every time. So that way you can make notes and it will help. Next, do not worry about speed of reading initially. Focus on understanding the content. Initially it's okay, but gradually you have to increase the speed of reading. Then you have focusing on enhancing your vocabulary. It is very important that you improve your vocabulary alongside. Okay, this will increase the fluency of your reading. Now there are some ways of improving your vocabulary. For example, you could use new words. It is very important that you use the new words that you've learned in your speaking as well as in your writing. Only then, there are two types of vocabulary, active and passive. Passive vocabulary is the set of words that you have come across and you've learned, but you don't use them. Active vocabulary would be the ones that you have learned and you are also able to use them comfortably. So it is important that you use the words that you've learned and make them a part of your active vocabulary. Another way is to read every day. Make it a habit. Reading is a very good habit. So read every day. And learn word roots. It will help you remember words and their meanings better. Number 4, use a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a book that has synonyms to many words. Okay, there are shades of differences in the synonyms that you come across in a thesaurus. Okay, so you have to go through a thesaurus, look up a thesaurus as often as you can. Then you have developing your practical vocabulary. That means look for words or learn words that are related to things that you do or the things that you are learning, your areas of interest. Okay, learn new words related to your area of interest. You could also you must look up new words. Okay, I mean the words that are new to you while you're reading. You must look up the words in the dictionary. You might guess the meaning from the context, but you have to look up the dictionary to confirm whether your understanding was correct. Otherwise, learn the new meaning, the correct meaning. You need to maintain a journal. Maintaining a journal is a good idea, a good thing, a good practice. Okay, you keep writing, write down things that you've learned and go back to them on a regular basis. You could also read different kinds of writing. It is important that you read different types of writing, not just one style, not just novels all the time. Read different things, magazines, journals, newspapers, textbooks, anything. Keep looking at different styles of writing, storybooks, short stories, or plays. Okay. It would also help if you do word puzzles and play word games. Right? These are some of the different ways of improving your vocabulary so that you can keep the fluency in your reading.